Hello, I'm Rebel Knight, folks, and I'm back. I've been away for a week with a very bad throat infection, so I've not been able to get to stream or to any YouTube content for the past week, so I do apologize for that. But we're back now, and I have noticed in a couple of the comments of my old videos, you guys have been asking about my Necromancer build and what I actually use to play him as effectively as I do. So that's exactly what we're going to be going into in this guide. We're going to go through the ultimate guide of Necromancer and how I find him best to play as effectively as I do. So make sure you stick around, and I'll catch you on the flip-flop, buddy. Hey and welcome back. So today we're going to be going fully in depth into Necromancer and what I see as the ultimate guide to how to play him and how the best way is to use him in the most effective way that you possibly can in the current meta of the game. There is obviously metas and we've got to play around them. So at the minute, this is definitely the strongest way that I find to play him. I mean, there are probably other people that play him in a similar fashion but with slightly different skill trees. But today we're going to talk about his abilities first and foremost, have a quick rundown through them just to talk through them and to make sure we understand what they're doing fully. Then we're going to go through all the skills that I personally choose for this build. Once we've done that, we'll have a look at the pink F upgrades as well, because that's very, very important. I actually recently changed the way that I upgrade the, not pink F, you know what I mean? The upgrades, threat level upgrades. So I recently changed the way my threat level upgrades work in this game. I used to go down one route and I learned via someone else that there was actually a slightly better way to do it, and now I've sort of shifted to that, and it's stupid. Like I didn't even need to do that, and it's got ridiculous to this point. And then we might chuck a quick game in at the end just to sort of showcase how everything comes together and how sort of you want to work around the survivors, if that makes sense. But let's get straight into it anyway and get cracking with his abilities and his skills and get through him. Okay, so first and foremost, Necromancer's first main ability is Flute to Kill. Obviously, you can drop a flautist anywhere on the map, so let's just read through it a little bit. Increases the bonus damage and defense that the flautist provides to nearby evil units. The flautist cannot be moved or be possessed. Cannot move or be possessed, right? So it's just a stationary you put down. It provides an all-round buff. The cooldown 75 seconds. Damage increase to 70%. Damage reduction to 30%. So it's huge. It's massive. Like, so many survivors underestimate how powerful a flautist is, because at the end of the day, it's just a guy tooting away on his flute, isn't he, really? But he's actually so incredibly powerful, and it's like, that's why as a survivor, you have to target him. If you're in the middle of an objective, someone has to go off and deal with this guy, because 70% damage increase and 30% damage reduction is huge. It's really, really huge. So make sure you pay attention to that. His second ability, or second part of his ability even, Skelephobia. So skeletons increase the fear level of the survivors near them. So the more skeletons are around, the more fear goes up. I mean, it's not overly that important. I tend not to possess survivors very much as Necromancer. I don't really that often get into a part of the game where I feel that that's necessary for me. You'll understand as we go why that's the case. But hey, fear's fear. It might waste a bit of time. You know, I don't pay too much attention to fear when I'm playing against a Necromancer. I genuinely don't think it's his strong point. So you take it as you want. Take it as you want. But the third ability stack then, so motivational music, increases the bonus damage and defense that the flautist provides to nearby evil units. So you get an additional 20% extra effect bonus to it. So you're doing even more damage and even more damage reduction on incoming damage. The fourth one, skeletal injury. I can speak today, hopefully. Skeletons increase the damage received by nearby survivors. So again, the more skeletons that you drop and the more that are around, the more damage received. I don't think it stacks. Someone will have to correct me in the comments if that is the case. I don't think it stacks. I think it is literally just the skeletons being present. At least one skeleton being present around survivors will increase the damage that they receive by 10%. So you can imagine when you've got the flautist already down with a 7% damage increase, plus a 20% extra effect bonus, plus they receive an extra 10% damage. That flautist is down there in trouble. That's why you got to deal with it. That's why you got to deal with it. Anyway, so they're the abilities. You get the gist. I think most people understand what Necromancer's abilities is now, but we just talk through it just in case anyone didn't know. But we'll go into the skills now. We'll have a look at the skills that I go through. So you'll see that I've completely ignored a certain portions of the skill tree entirely. And the reason with this is, so the way I've built this entirely, the meta at a minute for specifically Necromancer and Warlord is basic unit possession. I think if you've been playing the game since its release, you'll know that. If you've only just picked up the game, Just be very wary that at the beginning of the game, basic units being possessed are very, very strong. So just be very cautious about coming up against them. Make sure that you're sticking together to try and deal with them as best you can. Build into balance bar damage if you can, because if you can keep taking a balance bar off the basic unit, it sort of renders it useless. It's the best way to deal with them. Other than you can just run, to be quite honest. You can outrun them, especially hunters, as hunters shouldn't ever be getting hit by them. So there's ways to counter them, but we'll go into it. But that's the meta in a minute, is the basic unit possession. With Necromancer, his elite units, they're not particularly great. They're not very good. I don't think. I think they're too slow. Their abilities don't really do much in terms of time consumption to get them off, and the risk of like losing your balance bar. I don't feel they're worth it, so I do not touch elites at all at any point in this build. It is literally down to basics and both the boss as well, because I want it so that I can get an army of skeletons down and then pick the boss out, and then they've got a whole mess they've got to deal with. They've got to deal with the flautist, they've got to deal with the army that you've left down, and then they've got to deal with Evil Ash as well. It's a lot of chaos that's going on. But so yeah, the first two rows, they all pretty much, for the most part, they all take care of elite units. So Hellraiser elite, Rocksteady elite. There's a couple of demonic dashes in there, some portal authority for the boss, which is, it doesn't really matter, you don't need it. And a couple of things to do with Ash's skills, but I don't think they're worth taking in comparison to other stuff that you could take. So this entire portion of the skill tree, I've just left it out completely. Same with the heavy damage elite at the end. And then these three items at the end, these are to do with Evil Ash again. Because of the buffs that I've already got on his skills, I don't feel that you need to have these two on. They're not as worth what the other ones are. It's not as useful in an investment, essentially. And then the last one is the cooldown time for your active skill. Now the flautist drops pretty quick, as it is 75 seconds. It's not that long. You can get them up pretty quick. So again, it's not something that's very necessary. But from the off, I usually build straight into basics first. Like if you're starting this build and you're level 1 Necromancer, I would heavily suggest going into your basics, so your Rocksteady basic, because you want your balance bar as high as possible, because that is going to be the survivor's main counter. If they've got like a Henry the Red on their team and an AOD Ash, and maybe like a decent hunter that's got a, I don't know, a boomstick or something like that, they're gonna absolutely rip your balance bar to shreds. So you want to make sure that it's as high as it can possibly be. So usually the first one I go into is Rocksteady basic, and then from there I would go into a Hellraiser basic as well, to make sure that we've got the 30% additional health and the 35% balance bar damage, so it keeps your basic units up as long as possible. From there, it's the way you do this. There's no set. After them, I would say there's not really any set way that you want to unlock these. It's going to be down to your personal preference as to how you want to play it. I can't actually remember the route in which I took in leveling them up one by one, but I don't think it's that important. As long as you end up with this build, once you've got the the Rocksteady basic and the Hellraiser basic, you're still going to be doing quite well anyway. That's where you'll start to like get an actual good use out of the basics, because they do crazy damage at base. So that's that. Infernal Revenue, you're going to need that because of the fact that you want to be pumping out traps and portals and summoning stuff, and all the time you want to keep your infernal energy up as much as you can. You want to be getting as much infernal energy as you can from each orb, as well as, you know, regenerating as much as you can. And so anything infernal energy, both the revenue and the infernal refill, when you're near an active objective, you generate it quicker. You want those ones because, like I said, you need your energy. It's your key, essentially. It's the same as how Puppeteer, his key is possession, keeping their fear up. This guy, you want to keep your infernal energy up. The more infernal energy you've got, the more chaos you're going to create for these survivors. All right. The other one on the first tier that I would take is Rocksteady Boss, again, to increase the balance bar damage of Evil Ash himself, to make sure that he can stay up as long as possible. Because again, if they all wail on you and there's like 4 of them smacking the hell out of you when you got them out, it's going to be tough. They're going to stun you a lot. So you want to just negate that as much as you possibly can. With the next tier, so tier 2 skills, we've got Louder Warcry. I consistently forget which one this is. I'm pretty sure it's their Spear Slam, as in the basic unit Spear Slam. And so it increases the area in which it affects it. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But tell you what, let me just make sure. Let me just make sure. It is, yeah. All right, it's right. Okay, so the war cry is the spear, the slam. I think it's his number 2 ability. If you're on PC, it's the number 2 ability. So the way you want to use that, you want to make sure that you're doing a heavy attack before you do the war cry, because if you do a basic, it will only apply its bonus damage upon the damage caused by the light attack, right? So if you do a heavy attack, you will do more damage with the war cry because of the fact that it chained off of a heavy attack. So if you're going to do war cry, always make sure you get at least 1 heavy attack in first and then do war cry. You'll get much more damage out of it, much more use out of it. Okay, but I only put 1 point into it because I don't really think that for the other stuff that you could put into this build, you don't really need to put, you know, 2-3 points in it. So I've only unlocked that just to get to the next point. The one below that, Portal Authority Elite. Obviously, I would love to not put any points in this because I don't care about elites at all. I don't think I really ever spawn elites. My traps, when it comes to the threat level leveling, I don't actually level my traps past 2 because I don't want elites coming out of the traps, because I don't want 1 elite when I could get 3 basics that are far more powerful, right? So I've only put that into that so we can get to the next level again. So that's what it is. I think most of these are the same, to be honest. So the next one down, Scary, a Demonic Dash. It increases the amount of fear that survivors receive in a Demonic Dash. Increase it by 50. It's great and all, but again, fear's not really your main key, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Just put the point in to get up the next one. The same with this one, increase the amount of infernal energy that you gain from it as well. Again, it's kind of good and better, but there's no point in putting 2 points into it for an extra 5 infernal energy. That ain't going to give you anything. And the same even for an extra 15 by getting 125. 15 infernal energy isn't going to do anything for you, so it's not worth 2 points, right? So tier 3 skills. We're going to go with Test of Time. So this increases the duration of objective events for survivors while the demon player is inside the objective items aura, right? So when you're in the circle of the pages or the dagger, you're going to be fighting within that circle anyway. So it's good to have this because then it's going to take them longer to do the objective. And you never know, that extra 15% duration could make the difference between them getting it done and them not getting it done. Okay, so it's always good to take this one. I max this out at 2 because you want to just waste. You want to burn up their time as much as you possibly can. So we go with 2 points on that one. The next one down, Infernal Refill. We already touched on this. You just want to keep your infernal energy up. So we've taken that one max out at 2 points as well, just so that we're ensuring that we've got as much energy as we possibly can at all times on this build. The next one down, Portal Authority Basic. Now this one I have maxed out. Obviously it's the basics, and I want it to reduce the amount of energy that it costs to place these portals down, because then the less they cost, the more I can put out, the more skeletons I've got to fight, the more chaos it causes for the survivors in the long run. So again, you want to put 3 points into this one. Bone Rage. Skeletons attack more frequently, an extra 10%. It's only a little bit. You need it to get to the next points anyway, and I sort of recommend taking all these bottom ones, which we'll go through. And there's only 1 point to put into it anyway, but it's still worth taking because the more they attack, the more damage they can do, the more trouble they can cause. So the skill, the level 4 skills, we've got Come Back Stronger, which is resurrected skeletons have increased maximum health, come back with full health, and can deal more damage. So these are talking about the ones that are resurrected as Ash's ability. So a lot of people think when you use Ash's second ability to resurrect, they believe that they will just literally resurrect anything that's died in that area. It's not. What it does is it applies the aura to the skeletons that are currently fighting around you. And so if any of those skeletons within your aura then die, they will then straight away come back up. Okay? It doesn't just randomly spawn people like the first ability does. It will put an aura of protection around those skeletons that are fighting within your aura at the time that you use the ability. It then lasts for a duration, which I forget. I'll have to go into Ash's ability. So I don't think there might not be a timer on it. Maybe there isn't. There's no timer here. I think there is a timer though. I'll have to look. I'll have to look for it. But anyway, so that's how that applies, right? So what that does is it increases, once you get it to tier 3, make sure it's tier 3 so you can get the most amount of use out of it in terms of restoring the basic units to come back, to ensure that they don't just die like the clones from Puppeteer. Yeah, we know how quick those guys go down. But yeah, so we get an extra 40% basic unit damage off of this, an extra 40% basic unit health by maxing out at tier 3. So it's all well and good to do that. The next one down, we're going to put 2 points into this one as well. So this is widespread skeleton resurrection. Increases the duration of Evil Ash's skeleton resurrection skill. I knew there was a duration. I knew it said it somewhere and I forgot where it was, but here it is. So it increases the duration by 30. It just means that effect that it protects the skeletons with lasts for longer. So there's more potential for more of the skeletons that may die to then come back. All right. The next one down, Health Razor Boss. Again, we're going to max this out because we want the boss to be as tanky as we can as well, because they can really whittle down the health of a boss very, very quick. If you've got 2 good hunters that can hit headshots and, you know, a melee that's really wailing on you with like a legendary or something like that, then it will cause you problems. So you want the health to be as maximum as you possibly can get it. So we're going to put 3 points into that one. And then the last one at tier 4 is the irreparable damage. This is huge. Survivors cannot gain health from any source after being hit by an Evil Ash attack. This is huge. If you target their support when they do this, their support cannot heal themselves or their team. And if you just keep wailing on the support, they can't dodge you. And so it's really damaging. Really, really good. Okay, yeah, so the tier 5s, we're going to increase the flute force. We're going to put the 1 point into that because it's good to have your flautist maxed out as well, especially with this build, so that you can get the most amount of effect that you can from them. With this one, flute force, it increases the flute effect range to 55 meters, which is huge. You'll get used to how far or how far away you can put a flautist to make sure the effect covers like an objective area. You'll get used to it. It takes a bit of time, but it's huge having that little bit of extra effect range so that you can go even that little bit more distance. The next one down, again with the flautist, healthy bones, it just increases his maximum health. So it's just so that if someone like support's trying to take him out, it will take an extra hit to get him out of the game, in which case that might allow you to possess a basic unit and prevent them from doing so. Okay, so it's always good to take that. Plus, we need it to go into Gates of Hell anyway, which we'll get into next. The last one at tier 5 is Skeletal Reinforcements. Increases the number of skeletons spawned when Evil Ash summons them. So again, this will just spawn an additional skeleton whenever he uses his ability. And that will just mean that there's more chaos, more skeletons for them to deal with. And then going into the tier 6 skills. First one up the top, heavy damage basic. This is going to be huge because, again, where the fact that the meta is the basic unit possession, having more damage on them is going to make it absolutely mind-blowingly awful for survivors at some points, unless they're very good and they know it, they're switched on, they know what they're doing. So with this, we're going to put all 3 points into this to get an extra 20% damage increase. So you've now got all this damage increase that we've been putting on so far, plus you've got the flautist down, plus you've got his 3rd and 4th ability. It gets crazy. It gets really, really silly the amount of damage they do. It does need a little bit of a tweak, I think, because it is a problem. Like I sometimes feel very, very sorry when playing Necromancer in this build because I'm just like, oh, it's a bit too much. It's a bit overkill. But yeah, so make sure you put 3 points into this one. And then on this tier 6, we're going to go into Gates of Hell basic as well. So it reduces the cooldown period between placing the portals to make sure that we can get, again, more portals out as quick as possible, as often as possible, creating more skeletons and more disaster, more chaos for the survivors. Right. And the last one on tier 7, the only one we're going to take for this one is heavy damage boss. Same principle. We just want to be doing more damage when we use an Evil Ash so that we can have a bigger effect, so that if they do decide to smack the hell out of our balance bar, we're still doing more damage in that short time that we're up. Okay, so they're all the skills we're going to be putting on this build. As you can see, they're all based around either the basics or the boss himself, as well as the 2 items that go towards the flautist. But I haven't touched anything that goes towards elites, and the other ones that are like in reference to demonic dash or objective time or the boss or something like that. I just don't feel that they're as powerful when used in comparison to the ones that I've put on. And I've used a couple of different variations of this build, but this is the one I generally found is the most overpowered at the minute. If you do think that there's a skill that could be used better, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to check it out if I haven't done so already. Or if you think there's just any other variation that changes the way that a game can be played so that it's slightly different, then again, let me know in the comment box below, and I'll be happy to check them out and have a look at them, see how they perform and stack up against this when I'm playing them. Obviously, you want to make your builds fitted around your play style, but given that the fact that the meta is basic unit possession in a minute, this is very, very strong starting ground, and then you could possibly go with this and then sort of manipulate it as to how you want to play it. If you want to have a bit of fun with the boss a bit more, you know, maybe put some more into the boss. If you just want to ignore that, or you might want to put a couple on elites or some demonic dash, then go into that as well. But what we'll do now is we'll quickly head over into a little custom game just so we can have a look at the upgrades, and I can show you how I would upgrade them, and we can go from there. Okay, so with the threat level upgrades, we're going to quickly talk about through these and how I would go level them up at the beginning of the game. We're only in a tutorial in a minute, so we just got a couple of levels to go with to sort of put it into. But the way I would always start it, first you've got to go, I mean, they've put one into every single one, obviously, because it's a tutorial. So ignore that the fact there's one there, and we'll go with the process that I would when I'm entering a game. Now, originally, I used to prioritize Infernal Energy and Portal Basics, okay? And then I learned that actually, you don't need to do that. You don't need to put everything into Portal Basic initially, despite the fact you're using Basics, and that's what I got confused at. I was like, okay, Portal Basic, I'm using a basic build, so I want to go to Portal Basic. Wrong, because I forget that Possession doesn't just affect survivors. It affects possessed units. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you possession. It could be a bloody car if you want, but it will do more damage when you run them over. But yeah, so possession affects everything you possess, including your basic units. So I found it much, much better to do it this way. So the priority that I would go with in a game is I would always start off with one into Infernal Energy. Then my next threat level comes up at threat level 2. I would pick up Portal Basic. The reason why this is because when you're building up your Infernal Energy bar, you're obviously getting orbs. I mean, there's none in here because this is a tutorial, but you're picking up your orbs. Every orb you pick up gives you threat level. Every portal you place gives you threat level. Every trap you place gives you threat level. Okay, so you're trying to get your threat level as high as you can while you're trying to find the survivors, right? So the reason why I go to Infernal Energy and then Portal Basic is so that I can have my portals available to use. So if I'm on the bigger map and it's going to take me a little bit longer to find them, every time I max out my energy bar, I will drop a portal. Because if you're sitting at a max energy bar, you're not picking up orbs, which means you're not increasing your threat level. You're not also placing portals, so you're not increasing your threat levels. So you're going to find the survivors at threat level 2 or 3, maybe. More than likely 2. So you're going to be even weaker. So the idea is go into Infernal Energy, place a couple of traps around, get your threat level 2, go 1 point into Portal Basic. And then every time you max out your bar as you're traveling, drop a portal. It will use some of your Infernal Energy, give you a bit of threat level. Then you will start picking up orbs again, giving you more threat level. And then when you get to max again, you drop another Portal Basic. And then same process. Then you're getting to the survivors. When you get to them, you're at a higher threat level and you're more likely to do more damage with it. Okay? So that's the reason that I would go with them two initially, is the first 2 points. Always Infernal Energy for the first one, Portal Basic for the second. If you happen to stumble across the survivors before you've placed a portal or anything like that, it's probably best to save the portals. Or if you feel like you're getting close to where they're going to be, or maybe they've revealed themselves, then again, you might just want to sort of stay close to where they are. You might want to save the portals until you get close to them, because you don't want to have no portals available when you do stumble across them. Okay? So they're the first 2 threat levels that I would go to. From there, you have to prioritize Infernal Energy and Possession. Okay, so unlock them as they make them available. So you know how in a normal game it will say, all right, you can put I don't know, 5 points in, but only 2 of them can go into Infernal Energy, and then it blocks out, and then you have to go into Possession. That's, you want to do it. So the priority would be Infernal Energy, Possession, then Boss, then Portal Basic. You could get again traps with Fear. I wouldn't worry about them because Fear doesn't really matter too much. So I would go with priority 1, Infernal Energy, priority 2, Possession, priority 3, Boss, priority 4, Portal Basic, priority 5, Demon Vision, priority 6, traps to 2, not 3. Don't level them to 3 because you're going to start spawning elite units and we don't want to do that. So don't do that. Always make sure that your traps stay at level 2. Okay, never ever, even if you've got your threat levels all the way maxed up and you've got 1 point left to go in, do not put it in the traps. Just leave it there because your basics are going to do far more than what your elites are going to do with this build. Okay. And then the last final one that you want to put into is Portal Elite. You're not going to use them. I don't use them. You can use them if you want. If stuff's getting really messy and you're at the dark ones and the book needs to be destroyed and you've used your last 2 basic portals and all you've got is elite portals to pop, then obviously pop them. But this an absolute last resort because they're not very good. And because of the fact that I haven't built anything into them, they're even more not any good. So that would be the priority I go with. And the way that I level it, as like I said, level them as it allows you. If it only allows you to put 2 into Infernal Energy, do that. If it blocks off, then go into Possession. As soon as Infernal Energy unlocks again, put it into them, then go into Possession or whichever one it does. Once you've maxed these 2 out, you should have Boss available by that point. So then go into your Boss, the Evil Ash becomes available. Then go into Portal Basic. Then you could even just go into Demon Vision all the way maxed out. Then you could put 1 into Trap and then do the rest in the Portal Elite and just ignore the 3rd one for traps. Okay, that's the way that I would do my threat level upgrades. But yeah, what we're doing now is we're going to a couple of games so I can show you some examples of how I play this out, so you can see me using these threat level upgrades as we go, and I'll talk through it a little bit in my process of my thinking, how I sort of ambush them or how I go about attacking them, who I'm targeting, who I'm focusing on, how I'm protecting certain areas, how I'm stopping them from moving to places, and we'll go into it a little bit in depth into games. Hopefully they don't usually last too long if I do pretty well. So but yeah, I hope it's been very useful so far, but let's get into some games and I'll catch you there. All right, so this might be a little bit of a difficult game. They're all PlayStation survivors, so I'm assuming they could be a 4-man. We'll see about it though anyway. So we're going to have a quick peek at the map when we go into the game, and based on where the things are, so we're not going to see any survivors around here or Fire Tower. We're not going to see any survivors around this portion because where we spawned and where the objective is. So they're either going to be up this side or they're going to be over in this corner. I've got a feeling that they're going to be on this corner just because of the location I've spawned at, okay? So we're going to head straight in the direction, picking up orbs as we go, as you expect. Trapping up random stuff as we go, just until we get to threat level to 2. Once we get to threat level to 2, then that's where we're going to have our portals available. And we won't have to worry too much about trapping stuff up. We can just get straight to them at that point. So there's threat level 1. I'll pop another trap there. So we're going to go 1 into Infernal Energy for the first one. When the bar gets to halfway, by the way, it's safe to move on. You can start flying away when it gets to 1 and it will still continue doing it. So we're going to keep going north. There's a lot of traps around here, which is good. Oh, ain't got enough. So we're just trying to get to threat level 2 whilst we're trying to find them at the minute. Pretty certain they're going to be up this north way. Already found a map. So we're just going to keep going. I'm trying to get closer to where I think they are so that I can get on them as soon as possible. And whilst trying to get threat level 3. Oh, they're close. So we've... Yep, there we go. So we got it right. We guessed right. What I'm trying to do is get my threat level 2 before I get to them, ideally. Ideally. So Henry we'll want to avoid. He's the tank of the team. He's going to be the hardest to get down. And obviously, the more people you get down, the quicker we're going to get going. So we're going to put down the portal basics for the 2nd threat level. And then we're going to go target AOD Ash. Right? Actually, no, we're not. We found Cheryl. So we're going to go find... We're going to go target Cheryl. Because she's over here with Arthur. I mean, Henry is over there. But there's a lot of traps around this area. She's wary that we're around her. Don't know where Henry is, so I'm going to cancel that. Going to possess. Then we're going to heavy attack, and then we're going to spear. Because now we've done superb damage. She should go down. Yep, she goes down. Straight away, we've got 2 threat levels. We're going to unpossess because he's lost his basic, his balance bar, sorry. And then we're going to jump in when they go to save them. Boom, like that. Like that. Then we're going to go into possession, Infernal Energy. Wait for our thing to come up. So the minute we're building threat level. And I actually just want to waste some time in a minute while I collect some more orbs. Possess this guy. Heavy attack. Spear. Oh, he's lost my spear, so that's a bit of a shame. He's only got a knife on him though. But we still do some good damage. We're still gonna kill him if he keeps fighting us like this. This is where survivors need to learn to run. Okay, so because we're only gonna headbutt, we're gonna depossess, and we're gonna go back in for Cheryl now. We're gonna pick up our orbs on the way. They haven't really sat around any places that are heavily trappable, but we assume they're going towards dead end. So I'm gonna heavily trap up dead end. All these houses here, because this seems to be where they're going. We're going to trap the hell out of all these houses. We're going to trap all these things as well. This is the house where I want to cause chaos in. We're going to put another unit into possession. Okay, we're going to put another one here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a flautist in here, right? In this, not in there because it's easy for them to get to. Wait for him to jump scare these. He might do it, I don't know. Get her down. Going to go in there after him. And then we're going to get Lord Arthur down there as well. They've taken out the flautist, but he goes down as well. He's doing the right thing. He's running away from us here. We're getting threat level up. They're doing a good job. It's a hard house because they've got a lot of windows in here, right? But he's now stuck in here because there's no window this side, I don't think. We get a possession... sorry, something off him. And then we're going to down him again, I think, as well. Yeah, he goes down. He needed to get out of the window there. Oh, nice. Good play, good play. Might still go down. No. Okay, so we're going to put into Infernal Energy and into Possession again as well. And then another one into Boss, now that we've got a Boss available. They're doing really, really well. Like I said, I think they're a 4-man team, which is why they're sticking together. So they're playing very much against me at the minute. Very, very strong. We're going to go trap up this house because this is where the map is. So we're going to put traps all over this house. Put mini ashes as well because we want them to get rid of their components. We're going to put another one into Portal Basic purely because of the fact that... Oh, someone's gone down as well. Strong. Need some Infernal Energy, Infernal Orbs even. Going to pop out here quickly. Zip around, get some orbs until we can get back into that house. Cause some nightmarish trouble for them. Put another trap here. We're just going to trap the hell out of this this thing essentially. Put another portal there. So they're all together. We're going to try and target Ash when he's on his own. Gonna go out here. He's using windows very effectively, which is good. He knows, good team, very good survivor. He knows how to play this. Just keep using windows. He can run the demon for days. So we're going to unpossess this guy. I'm actually going to target the others because I feel like they're not as strong. And we're going to put the flautist over here. And wait until I actually bring a Ashman out here. Gonna possess him and go for Cheryl. Slam. Oh. Gonna hit. Oh, he's using his ability. Nice. She goes down again though, I think. Oh, yeah. He's used his ability, so he can't use it again. Slam. He goes down as well. So we're gonna now depossess this guy. And they've still only got 2 maps, bear in mind. So we've got 7 threat levels to bring up as well. Arthur's coming over. We're gonna go Infernal Energy, Possession, Boss Unit. I'm gonna bring the boss man out when he gets here. He's going to res him, so I'm going to go after this Ash, I think. Is he going to res him? Yeah, he is. I know he's running away. They're not silly. He's coming back, though, so... We'll grab him. And then we'll just try and wail on him a little bit. He'll dodge, yeah, there we go. Ooh, nice. We're going to guard these a little bit. I'm going to put Evil Ash away. And then I'm going to go and put the Flautist over here. Just to be a little bit more of a nuisance. These guys are still dead. He's not picked up either of these souls. So, they're very strong for us. Yeah, I think they're trying to get one of the maps done on their own. I'm assuming. We'll bide our time. We'll bide our time. We'll come back eventually. We're going to go into Possession, Boss, Portal Basics. I love this guy. Oh, oh. Ah. So, fair play to him. He's got them away. That was my bad planning, but this is what it is. Ah, shit. He's doing a good job of keeping away from me. We want to stop him from getting the res off, so we're going to come over here. Wait for him to go for the res. He's not going to go here, though. He's going to go to the next one. So we're going to wait for him to go to the next one. Stop him, hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully. Oh, no. We'll stop that. Come out of it because we want to get into another unit possession before we can. He's still fearful. Pull him away as far away as we can. Chuck him into there. We might actually kill him from this possession, I think, maybe.
Help! Help! It's got me! My senses are once more my own.
Depossess that again. And then we've got Evil Ash available now, so he should die at this point. He's trying to group up with this guy, though. Want to get to that res point. He gets it off. Yeah, nice. Good job. Nice. Arthur's gone down. He's probably their best player, so nice. Good job to them. Grab him. Don't know who's lowest. Arthur's lowest. We want to get Arthur down. Cheryl next. Cheryl next. Nice. This is game, I think. Yep. Nice. Right, so it just took a little bit longer. They're a very, very good team, but the principal's there. The principal is all there. But you can see what I mean. So you build into the basics. So you go for the infernal energy first to make sure that your energy is as high as possible. Then you go to the, well, you go one in infernal energy, like I said, one into portal basic. And then from there, you focus on infernal energy and possession so that you're as strong as possible. Then you can go into boss or portal basics, whichever you feel is the best way to play. You got to adapt to how your survivors are playing. Arthur was definitely the best player on their team, so I had to sort of cater to the fact that he knew very well how to play against a possessed unit. He'd done a very good job between the two houses of having to run through windows. It's a pain in the ass for demons. Trust me, it really is. But you get used to it, and then you eventually realize who you need to target and who you don't. So I targeted the other two eventually, the Henry and the Ash, got them both down, so both their warriors are down. And then it forced Arthur to have to come to me and grab them. And I didn't protect it all that well, but that's a mistake that you make. But it just shows that the build is so powerful that even when you make those mistakes, it's very hard for them to recover from that situation. Okay, because we've already whittled down Cheryl's. Cheryl had to go off and start looting on her own. Because we whittled down all of her stuff, all of her like shemps and amulets and everything, so she can do anything. So she had to run off and do her own looting, and it just whittled down at them, and it's so hard for them to recover from it because you're taking away their items consistently by being on their back from the first minute of the game. It's so strong. Genuinely, I feel it is the best build that you can play on Necromancer, and if you learn to play it right. You know, there's things I could have done in that game that I could have played better. I've been playing a lot of Survivor recently, so I've not been staying on top of my demon gameplay, but it just shows that the build is so damn strong. You can still do an amazing amount with it anyway and cause absolute chaos. You get a great player like Arthur, done very, very well to get to the recovery stage that he was at, and he was very, very close. Got the res off eventually, but because I by then had bundled them all together and they had no healing, no nothing there, there's nothing they could have done about it. It was always going to end that way at one point or another. But I hope it's been a useful guide anyway. I'm sorry it's been a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but I really wanted to go in depth with it. I don't want to miss out stuff or anything like that. And I wanted to make sure that I had every single thing covered. If there is anything you feel I did miss or didn't go over enough, or something that maybe, I don't know, explained incorrectly or not in the best way or something like that, please let me know in the comments below so that I can either correct myself or I can just, you know, answer your questions. If you do have any questions, something that I might not have addressed and you're like, oh, well, actually I was wondering about this, feel free to ask in the comments below. I will happily respond to every single question that I get, because Necromancer I genuinely enjoy, like massively enjoy. Out of all three demons, I think I enjoy them the most. I haven't played too much Warlord, but at the minute Necromancer is definitely my favorite. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. I hope it's been a very, very useful guide for you, and I hope you are able to go forward and get some serious amount of wins racked up as demon when using this build and also this method of play as well. Just on a note to the map, when I look at the map at the beginning of the game, just bear in mind there's like a specific radius around objectives and your spawn that the survivors can't spawn in, right? It also includes the dark one spawn, but you don't know where the dark ones are unless you see them. If you see them, know that there's an aura around them as well. So that's why you can open up the map at the beginning, have a look at where the objectives are, where you are, and get a rough idea of where they are. Okay? But yeah, I hope it's been a useful guide, and I appreciate if you have enjoyed it and you look forward to more guides. I'm going to be coming out with a lot of Survivor guides in the next couple of weeks, one by one as we play through them. So if you are interested in that and want to stick around for it, then please feel free to hit that subscribe button. It generally does help me out. I appreciate it very much. And also that like if you did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you all guys in the next one.